Well, Israel First still controls all the institutions. They donate, Israeli lobby donates to 94% of Congress. So that includes the overwhelming majority, well over 90% of the Republicans. So also the Democrats, but we're talking about the Republican side today. So on that side, yeah, almost all of your politicians are sellouts. Almost all of your politicians are Israel First. And what's awakening a lot of people. I call it the Great Awakening, and I realized recently some on the right are calling it the Great Awakening. So we agree. And what you're waking up to is the donors rule everything. It's not just about Israel. Big Pharma rules everything. Big Pharma spends even more money than Israel. That's why we can't negotiate drug prices. That's not a free market. That's abusing the American citizens on behalf of the donor class. Big Pharma, and I can go on, and I do on the Young Turks.
Hank Yuga drops a bombshell here. Hank says Israel First donors were worried about Donald Trump, not because he opposed them, but because Donald Trump was a wild card. Hank Yuga, Donald Trump, Israel First politics. This isn't left versus right. This is who really had leverage over Donald Trump. And why we keep sending them money, let's plug in.
Okay, so now, though, the institutions are still completely in Israel First control. And what a lot of people are seeing and getting frustrated by is that Trump is on Israel First side. And now Trump wavers from time to time. And on the Young Turks, we notice it and we point it out. Fair show in America. So we'll say, hey, look, he cut out the Israelis in doing that deal with the Houthis. He cut out the Israelis when doing the getting our hostage back from Hamas, right? And we're like, those are good, positive developments, right? So that's why Israel First and Netanyahu were actually secretly really worried about Trump. They didn't want Trump because he's a wild card. It sounds like they have a lot of stuff on him. They've given him an enormous amount of money, like the Adelsons have given him over $337 million, and that's just from one family. And so, and he says openly how he works for them. And Sheldon Adelson came in all the time. He said this last week, and he only ever wanted one thing. It was about Israel. He came in more than any other person, demand after demand after demand, and Trump gave him everything. So I hate to break your heart if you're on the right, but Trump has been Israel first, Israel only. And so, to be fair, not Israel only because of those 2, 3, 4 instances where he did break a little bit, and they are a little worried about him. But overall, he's 98% policy-wise. He moved the embassy for them. He declared Golan Heights their land. Nice job of ethnic cleansing in Golan Heights. Just go ahead and steal it. Way to go, Israel. Give me more money. And then Miri Madelson patted him on the head and was like, maybe I'll give you $250 million more to run a third term, right? And Mark Levin grabbed Trump, and he's like, you're the first Jewish president, which, by the way, again, he's so dumb. Whether you think that's a good idea or not, substantively, et cetera, strategically, that was a disastrous thing to do in the middle of this MAGA civil war. So Trump has been 98% Israel first. Right now, Israel First is asking for another $80 to $100 billion. They call it a 20-year memorandum of understanding. We have to guarantee them about $100 billion. For what? For nothing. For nothing. We get nothing out of it. They say, we are a special ally, and anyone who disagrees will be canceled and fired, and their lives will be ruined. Go ahead, Mark Levin and Ben Shapiro, ruin their lives. All of a sudden, that side doesn't have much of a cavalry. And they're not able to ruin lives. They're not able to cancel careers. So their magic power is gone. They had that one trick pony, and they beat that dead horse to 8 different deaths. And even Jesus can't raise that horse. Sorry for the religious reference, but it is Christmas. So they're in trouble. On the other hand, how are America First going to get all of their corrupt politicians to vote against Israel and vote against giving them another $80 to $100 billion? They won't be able to. All their politicians will definitely sell out. Not all. Tom Massey won't. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene's gone. That's why I didn't want her to retire. There might be a couple of people who don't sell out, but over 90% are going to sell out immediately. And they're going to think like, oh, yeah, stupid voters, stupid MAGA, stupid America First. No way, Israel First. And they're going to give them the money right away. Trump's going to give it to them. That's my guess. I hope not. I hope we can unite to block that. And if he does give it to him, then it goes into the budget every year. Then we have to try to get it out. But it's going to be super hard to get it out of the budget because that's Israel First from both parties will come in and go, no way, everyone's an anti-Semite. Okay, Israel must get this money. You know, we borrow the 100 billion to give to them, and then we pay interest. They don't pay anything. They get the free $100 billion, the free interest, the free everything. They've already taken 300 billion from us. We pay interest on that 300 billion we gave them every single year, like suckers, like schmucks. Why? Because if anybody ever said anything against them,
And they
they'd
have
get canceled
universal
and
health
fired,
care.
and they'd be
They
eliminated
all
from the
get free
national
health care in
conversation.
Israel.
But the walls are breached. Since the
Meanwhile,
walls are breached, they can't do
they're
that
taking away
anymore.
Obamacare here
So what
for the
happens
wrong
now?
reasons. But
Because those politicians won't move, and the establishment media will never move. They're 98% pro-Israel, and they'll call us on the left and the right. They'll call us anti-Semites until the cows come home, until their companies go bankrupt. And they could have a poll saying 98% of Americans don't want to give Israel any more money. And I swear to you, Jake Tapper and every other, and it's not just to pick on him, almost every anchor on cable news, and it doesn't matter what their religious, racial, ethnic background is, they'll all come out and be like, no, the
pro-Israel.
American people are anti Semites, they're evil, and they should shut up and give the money to our special ally, beloved Israel, because they're in the tank, guys. It's super obvious. I know they'll deny it and they'll say, oh, that's a trope and that's anti Semitic. Dude, you could say till you're sore in the throat. No one cares anymore. Okay. So now, but they have all of the institutional power. Okay, so how do you resolve this? There's only one way, and I don't know if the right wing can get organized enough to do it, and I don't know if the left wing can get organized enough to do it on our side. Okay, but right now we're in the middle of the Maga civil war. I hope we have an equal civil war on our side, because I don't want the corporate Democrats representing us. I don't want the establishment represent. That's not us. That's
He's
the
been
bad
saying
guys.
that
That's the
if you go
other
back to some
guys.
of his
We
older
have to do
videos.
likewise in our primaries. But first, here on the Republican side.
Cenk just exposed the pro-Israel playbook. This is where the illusion breaks. Israel first power didn't disappear. It just lost its intimidation edge. The threats, the cancellations, the career destruction, that spell is fading, but the system is still intact. 90% of politicians will sell out the moment another 80 or 100 billion hits the table. Borrowed money, paid with American interest, sold as special alliance, enforced with accusations and media pressure. The walls didn't fall, they just cracked. And now the question isn't who's right, it's whether anyone left has the backbone to stop the machine before it locks the money in permanently.
So what do you got to do? Somebody has to organize the right wing to vote against everyone who is takes Israeli lobby money. Like, we have a petition or a pledge to vote against anyone who takes Israeli lobby money. It's tyt.com/no more. Okay. But that's not important. The reason why I say it's not important is, look, it's good to sign the pledge, and if we can get it up to like a gajillion people, that's amazing and great and could have an impact. But that's what's much more important is you actually do it, that people get organized enough to do it. So what do you have to do? Well, somebody should create, and we talk about this on, so Young Turks is 68, and 8 o'clock I'm doing a show called The Revolution. And so we got to get organized, and we're starting to build websites, and we're crowdsourcing, right? So on the right, you got to build a site, or maybe we could do it together, where we show anyone who takes Israeli lobby money and they're no-go, you vote against them. So before you go to vote, you find out who's in your district, and if they took Israeli lobby money, you vote against them, period. Because what they do when they take the Israeli lobby money, and we'll move on to other donors later, but it's a great place to start. What they're saying is, I'm representing Israel. I will send them money. Because, by the way, the ones that get the most amount of money, and which is like 82% of them, on average, they get $125,000 per election cycle. I mean, this is flat out bribery. And mainstream media goes, no, 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 Supreme Court legalized it. So you're all anti Semites for saying it. It's not bribery. Of course, it's bribery. $125,000. So that 82% of Congress votes with Israel 100% of the time. They're locked in. They've gotten enough bribes by AIPAC and the Israeli lobby. They're never going to change, right? The only way to defeat them is to defeat them in the primaries. So if you're raising your hand and saying you're going to represent a foreign government, well, be my guest, brother. Go and represent them, because you're not going to be our representative. Vote for anyone who isn't taking Israeli lobby money. Vote. I mean, imagine a wave that is both blue and red, and neither blue nor red. that we all go into our primaries on the Democratic and Republican side. You don't have to vote for the other party. And we just vote in a massive wave against incumbents because almost all the incumbents are corrupt. Almost all of them take foreign government money. Almost all of them take corporate donor money. Almost none of them represent us. So when you've got a representative that's an exception like Tom Massey, Ro Khanna on the left, Massey obviously on the right, we could build a website that shows you the exceptions, the people who take no AIPAC money, no Israeli government money, etc., and build it out from there. So if you do not vote out
Actually,
the
a great
incumbents
idea.
in the primaries, then don't complain that Israel First is in charge. Because now you all know on both sides, Israel
Complicit.
First is 100% still in charge of power. The people who vote to give away our money work for them and not us. Now that America First sees that, and they see it super clearly, Megyn Kelly is kind of a symbol for the awakening on the right. Oh, wait a minute. These guys claim to be little victims and they're little babies we have to protect, but they have nukes. They have one of the top economies in the world. They have universal health care and free college. We don't have those things. And they have Iron Dome. We don't have that. They have the best military in the Middle East. Combined, all the other militaries, they're still better than them. They're not a little baby. They're not victims. Wait a minute. They attacked 7 of their neighbors.
All without tax
They're on
money.
the offense. They're not on the defense. Wait a minute. They just took half of Gaza and declared that it's part of Israel. Wait a minute. They just said all the time, they were like, oh, the Palestinians don't want us to exist. They exist. They're a nuclear armed country, etc. They voted over a year ago to say that Palestine will never exist. We'll always treat those people as our captives, as subhumans. We'll never give them freedom. We'll never give them sovereignty. And the right is waking up and going, oh, we got lied to. They're the bad guys. The Israelis, they're the ones attacking. They're the ones taking land. And they're the ones taking our money to do all of that while pretending to be poor little victims.
Laundering our money. That's
So
what
happens when the entire American people catch the institutions, the establishment in the middle of, you could call it a lot of things, but I would call it a crime. This is the great American robbery. The donor class has been robbing us blind for the last 40 to 50 years, ever since the Supreme Court basically legalized bribery. They've been bribing all of our politicians. No one has stolen more from us than the pharmaceutical companies. I can't wait to get to them. The oil companies steal from us every single year. Do you know that they've been getting subsidies for over 100 years straight? Do you know that they're getting $35 billion in subsidies? That's our money going to the most profitable companies in the world. Why? Because the politicians got donations from those guys and they serve the oil companies. They don't serve us. That's why we might be about to go to war with Venezuela, because our government doesn't work for the voters at all. It only works for the donors. And I love that the whole country has woken up to that.
This is where Cenk actually deserves credit. He's ripping the mask off the real scam. The donor class robbing Americans blind while pretending it's foreign policy or aid. Our tax dollars aren't being debated. They're being laundered through politicians who sold out long ago. Red or blue doesn't matter. Donors decide, voters pay, and the media runs cover. That's not representation. That's a rigged system. And until people start doing exactly what Cenk is talking about, organizing, primarying incumbents, and voting out anyone who serves donors over citizens, nothing changes. The robbery continues. Let me know in the comments if you think the American people are finally waking up, and hit subscribe for more Matrix breakdowns.